Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday. Chris Denari, the voice of the Pacers, joins us now from Soho, New York, after a late night win in Detroit by the Pacers. A comeback win, Chris, in which, man, they trailed and would climb back into the game, and then they would fall back, and that was a back and forth deal. I just thought they were going to run out of steam, and then, no, they just put their foot down and got over the finish line there and got the win and snuck out of Detroit with one.
Yeah, they want to be better defensively, to improve on what they did last year. And ironically, Jim, that's really how they won the game last night. You're right. Their backs were to the wall most of the night. They trailed by as many as 12. But I thought a really critical stretch of the game was they took the lead. It was 101-100. They got a coach's challenge overturned. So Rick Carlisle won the challenge. The offensive foul on Tobias Harris gave the Pacers the ball with a 1-point lead. And Indiana had 5 or 6 straight possessions where they didn't score. And a lot of times that would be problematic. Well, on the other end of the floor, the Pacers got 5 or 6 consecutive stops, and they never gave up that lead late. I thought that was really critical. So, yeah, good way to start the season. This is a Detroit team. Again, they only won 14 games last year, but I believe they'll be much improved because they've got 3 really good young players. Jaden Ivey, I think fans all know about him. Cade Cunningham, and then Jalen Duren is a big center. Played at Memphis. He's only 20 years old. This is his 3rd NBA season. So this guy's very young. But then they added 3 veterans, all who are coming in off playoff runs. Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. played in Dallas. So I do think they will be a better team.
Playoffs? Don't talk
about anytime you go on the road to start the year, it's going to be tough. So just a good way to get out of Detroit with the win.
Yeah, and that has to be I hate to think of Detroit being a mental boost, but to be able to win the way they did, not playing probably their greatest overall, but on the road, opening up, it's a win to build off of, especially for a young team who's still learning how to do these kind of things, how to put your throat on your opponents or put your foot on their throat and keep it there. So it's still a learning process.
Yeah, no question. And I think the good news is, Jim, they shot right around 42% in the first half, but they ended the game at 51%. And that's with Tyrese Halliburton going 6 of 18 from the field and 1 of 9 from 3. Now, Tyrese hit the big shot. Pacers had a 3-point lead late inside the final 30 seconds, and he hit the shot that, clinched the win. And then you flip it, Detroit shot just 20%. 5 of 20. They were 25% in the fourth quarter. So I thought that was really key. That defense, was really strong in the fourth quarter, and that was key. They got really good performances. Miles Turner was terrific last night. He had 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, and had a big third quarter. And then Benedict Mathurin, he had 15 of his 19 points in the fourth quarter, hit some big threes, made some big defensive plays. And remember, he's a guy that did not complete the season last year, had the shoulder surgery, did not play in the playoffs. So that I thought that was a big night for him as well. So, a lot of positives, a lot of guys played well, but the Pacers know they can play better, but they still were able to go on the road and get a win.
Yeah, and for this to come early in the season, like I said, it's good because they're just going to continue to build on this. But I would also think that they would know that they have a target on their back.
Yeah.
They're not as much the hunter as the hunted by a lot of the other teams, maybe not so much by, Boston and Minneapolis or Milwaukee and the Knicks, but there are a lot of other teams behind them that are chasing the Pacers.
I think that's a great point, Jim. And I talked to a number of the players this week about that when they walk into a building, they are looked at differently, especially for those teams that are behind you. They see what the Pacers did last year and say, hey, we'd like to do that. We know this is a good team. So you're right. They're going to walk into all NBA buildings this year, and teams look at them differently because of the success that they had. They raise their level of play because they know they feel they have to against you. You're going to get a lot of teams' best shots. That's not to say you didn't last year, but this is a franchise that 3 years ago won 25 games, then won 35 games, and now has won 47 games. So you're definitely looked at differently, not just by the media, but by those teams that you're playing.
Yeah, and this Pacer team, what did you see from them in that win? What did they show you? What are your expectations? Because now, being in Soho, that means the Knicks are up next on the docket, and the Celtics just obliterated them in their first game out, but they hit 29 3-pointers to tie an NBA record.
Yeah, I think what I learned last night was the resiliency that even when things look dire, especially in that fourth quarter, when, as you said, the Pacers would make a run, the Pistons would answer. Pacers would make a run, take a little lead, Pistons would answer. And the ability of the Pacers to take that final punch and then win the game, I think, was big. And you're right. New York, they got punked on Tuesday night. It was ring night, banner night, the 18th championship banner for Boston. New York has made the big trade to get Karl Anthony Towns. They're going to be hungry in their home opener tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. And also, a lot of those guys remember what happened in Game 7 last May when the Pacers won in the Eastern Conference semifinals to move on to the finals. So, it's going to be a phenomenal night tomorrow night. But I think the Pacers feel a whole lot better going into that game off of a win than if they would have stubbed their toe in Detroit.
Absolutely. And there's going to be a lot of excitement this year at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for games that the Pacers play, whether it's against the Grizzlies when Zach Edey comes in, Miami with Kel'el Ware and Thomas Bryant on that roster. I don't know who all they play, but do you play everybody in the NBA?
Yeah, we play at least Western Conference teams twice. We play Miami 3 times. And in fact, I think we have them in a back-to-back at home at Gainbridge Fieldhouse this year. So Miami will be in 2 consecutive games sometime during the season.
Yeah, that's February 5th or November 15th and November 17th on a Friday and a Sunday.
Yeah.
So you get the weekend, and Kel'el Ware and Thomas Bryant on that roster, former Hoosier player. So that's going to be interesting. And then you've still got Eric Gordon out there playing in his 17th season, I believe, now with
he's with Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, that's right.
Yeah, we'll see him on Sunday.
So, man, a homecoming. So lots of homecomings for these guys, which makes it fun. Not that anyone's going to be cheering against the Pacers, though. You got to still pull for the home team, right?
Yeah, it is cool to see all of these former Indiana players with, or Indiana connections. You mentioned we saw Zach Edey in the preseason with Memphis. Last night, Jay Nivey, you'll see him a couple of times at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The one guy that, had a phenomenal NBA career is Gordon Hayward. He retired this summer, 14 years out of Brownsburg High School and Butler University, played in Utah, Boston, Charlotte. Jim, it really is remarkable when you look across NBA rosters and see how many players have a connection to our state, whether they played in college or in high school. I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. What are your expectations for tonight's big game? Is OG is still with the Knicks too, right?
Yeah, OG Anunoby.
Oh, there's another connection.
There's another connection. Yeah, OG Anunoby. Those were 2 trades that Toronto made last year to sort of retool what they were trying to do. They traded OG Anunoby to the Knicks, and they traded Pascal Siakam to the Pacers. And both are now long-term agreements with their respective teams. So, it'll be another matchup of OG against Pascal Siakam tomorrow night. But importantly, it's another chance for the Pacers to test themselves on the road in a hostile environment. They know it all too well last year, having played 4 games in the playoffs at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, but that's how you've got to get to them regardless to kind of test yourself. And this is going to certainly be a test for the Pacers to see where they sit really early in the season, especially after New York got waxed by Boston. I'm sure they would like to respond in kind.
Yeah, I mean, the Pacers scheduled to start, Jim, 10 of the first 16 on the road. And you've got a tough back-to-back coming up on Sunday and Monday at home in the home opener against Philadelphia. And then 24 hours later, you're in Orlando against a very good young Magic team. Then you have Boston at home, and then you go on the road to New Orleans and Dallas. So it's a very difficult schedule to start for the Pacers here in 24-25.
Absolutely. And then, the Celtics come in, not, was it next week, next Wednesday, those vaunted Boston Celtics come in. We'll see how their 3-pointers are flying, but man, that was a pretty good shooting display. But the game ahead is the one that's most important. New York Knicks, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns. What a deal that must be.
Yeah, I mean, they have probably one of the top starting lineups in the NBA now when you add Karl Anthony Towns. Now, the question I would have is he going to be comfortable playing the 5? Because when he was at Minnesota, he was playing the 4 with Rudy Gobert. And the one thing right now is New York is really hurt from a depth standpoint. Mitchell Robinson is out, their backup center. Precious Achiuwa is out. So they don't have a lot of depth right now. And I think that's one of the things that Indiana can take advantage of. To a man, Andrew Nembhard said it the best. He said, look, our superpower is our depth. And the Pacers played 12 players last night. Now, the one thing that we'll have to wait and see in the next 24 hours is the injury situation to James Wiseman. He played really well early in the brief glimpse we got of him last night, and then went down with a lower extremity injury. So he'll have an MRI today in New York, hoping for the best. Just not sure what that injury is and if it's going to keep him sidelined long term. But that would be an issue for the Pacers if they lose somebody like James Wiseman.
Absolutely. Chris Denari, I cannot thank you enough as always, my friend, and enjoy your weekend. What are your plans besides basketball game tonight? I know you're in New York.
Yeah, just in New York, game tomorrow, day off today. Just want to get healthy. I've been a little bit under the weather. I think my 3-year-old grandson had a little bit of a cough and a cold, and grandpa caught it. So got through the game last night. Good thing that we don't have a game tonight. I can basically stay in my hotel room and work and not talk. And that's what I plan on doing most of the day.
And to tell you how great of a friend of the show that Chris is, he didn't get in until 2 a.m. and into the hotel and get settled in. You know what that takes. But yet here he is, because he is a true professional and a great friend of the show. We greatly appreciate you, sir.
All right, Jim. As always, thanks. Love doing it every Thursday with you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Chris Denari, the voice of the Pacers, joining us here from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios.